Hey guys, what's up? Matt here from Loon Outdoors, and today we're tying a stonefly. This pattern has been pretty much 100% poached from our Australian distributor, Manic Tackle Project. They tie it in a darker colorway that would be closer to like our salmon fly, but today we are tying it in a super cool golden stone variation. All right guys, so in the vise today we have a size 8 NS 156. It's a Nordic salt shrimp hook, just really dig the bend, and a 4.0 millimeter mottled tungsten bead from Hairline. The thread, as always, is Vivus 50D. And we're gonna go ahead and get started on this guy. So I moved the bead back out of the way, and we're just gonna put in a few wraps up front here and trim off our tag end. And we're using these crusher legs. They're pretty cool actually. They are a clear yellow leg. I feel like it offers a great amount of translucence. And I'm gonna take about a 3-inch section. So all I do is I'm going to tie these guys in like our antenna facing forward, and I'll go ahead and whip finish here. We'll go ahead and trim our tag in, and we're going to slide our bead back up. Next up I have a 0.25 non-lead wire, and I have I'm going to use about 4 inches off of this. So you're going to do about 10 to 12 turns, and this is going to help pad the thorax and transition from the back of the body to the front. So you can see I push that well up into the bead, and it kind of helps stabilize the bead as well. So we'll restart our thread and start working our way backwards here. We bring this into pretty deep into the bend of the hook. We'll trim off our tag end, and we're just using a little golden stone blend. This one's an old Kaufman's blend, but any of the SLF styled fibers, the synthetic living fibers, will work in either a gold or a golden brown. And I just create a slight, tiny dubbing bump in the back. And again, with our crusher leg here. I'm gonna take one off of one side, and I simply fold it over to tie in the other side. So you get a nice split tail that creates a lot of movement. This is a medium wire, copper brown. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there and wrap it all the way forward. And I'll just take a few securing wraps through our non-lead wire as well at this point. So this wire, I'm just going to kind of leave it standing straight up. This fly just calls for a pheasant tail, and this one's been dyed a really nice yellow. All I'm going to do here is take about 10 strands, and I try to even them up as best as possible. And I'll trim the ends so it lays in real nice, and just wrap forward. We're not going to make it all the way through the thorax with this. They're just not long enough. But you can see here, I'll grab with our hackle pliers, and we'll start palmering this in. If it gets a little bit out of sorts, I'm going to retie those guys in just a little different. They got a little uneven. And that'll happen sometimes. Might do these first ones just by hand here. just with 10 fibers inside of a hackle plier, it's pretty tough. And you can see I'm actually using the pheasant to advance my thread as well. That just kind of keeps me right where I need to be when I'm ready to switch over to the next round. A few securing wraps and we'll trim those ends off and we'll get another clump going. Okay, so now with this guy, we'll get them all tied in there nice and tight. We'll go ahead and, whoops. Thought I had them all. They tricked me. So we'll just do a few wraps moving forward here. Keep your legs out of there as best as possible. And we'll move into our thorax section up here. I like a little bit bigger thorax on my version of this pattern, and we're going to use thin skin as a wing case here. And this is just like a mottled looking thin skin, it's nothing special. And from there we're going to go ahead and we'll pull our palmer in with our wire. Just like to bring that further up into the actual wing case. Kind of helps bind everything together. I'm going to whip finish right there, just real quick, hand whip. And we'll pull a dubbing loop here. So we're going to use our ergo dubbing spinner, and I like to pull my dubbing loops just so that can rest. It's just a personal preference for me. And we have prepped out just a nice little stack of golden stonefly dubbing that will initiate into the dubbing loop for a spin cycle. And this will create most of our thorax bulk here. And we can use our dubbing teaser just to create a little bit of extra bulk. And I'm going to set this back out of the way on my vise and prepare our legs for the next stage here. Putting the legs in first allows you to get like a pretty solid connection to your fly, and makes it a little bit tricky to wrap a big dubbing loop of materials, but the results are always really good. So what we can do now is advance our thread forward to like the finishing point of our fly, and we'll just kind of start working this. It's going to be a few wraps, but we'll just start working this forward. Gets kind of fiddly with the legs, like I said, but we'll just trim them at the end and we'll be good to go. So from this point I'm going to grab the back legs and go once between them, grab the front legs, and we'll continue to go in front of that. And you can see I start brushing the materials back pretty heavily all the way up to the front. And I like to do wraps around where my loop was before I go in and secure. Just feels like it gives me a really good bomb-proof connection. And we'll ensure that our legs are all in the right spots. Tease our dubbing downwards and outwards. We'll take a nice first soft wrap. And then we can go ahead and whip finish here. We'll go ahead and trim off any of the excess wing case material. We've got our legs positioned, our tails out there, looking good. And we're going to use a little bit of thin and create a bubble. Once we get that, what I'll do is I'll rotate upside down to create the bigger bubble. We'll cure. And you can see you get a nice prominent bubble spot on the back of the fly there. And I'll pull all the legs up. Give them an even trim. And I like to trim the tails super short, keep the antennas long. And there we go. Just a real simple, basic golden stonefly pattern, sure to catch some fish. Thanks for watching.